So any of you guys who've ever had to haul water for cows knows that that is not a sustainable way to get water to your cows. You have to get it from pond or pipeline or something like that. And I'm going to show you guys what I find to be the most cost-effective and easiest, quickest way to get water across our entire farm. I've got miles and miles of water line laid out, and I'm going to show you exactly what I use and how I do it, and while we install another little water trough right here. All right guys, so I have tried all sorts of different materials for our main pipeline, and I found that by far the easiest for me to fool with and the most cost-effective that works for any length of time is this black poly line. And there are several different grades of it, but what I get is the 100 psi rated black poly, and this stuff seems to last forever. I don't seem to have any trouble with it. It's very easy to fool with, so like when I have to cut it, so I'm gonna install a bib right here in a tank. I'm gonna show you what I use, but you could use just basic little PVC cutters and you can cut this stuff. It's as simple as that. So when you're handling it, it's very, very easy. Then I like to use these barb fittings. You can use the metal ones, whatever you want. But these hold up really well when you use the right clamps with them. All right, there we go. So you got these little, they look like the PEX kind of clamps, but these are made for this specific type of black poly tube. These, my trick, you'll see all kinds of different things. You can get heat guns, all kind of stuff, but it's not always convenient for me. So a lot of times what I do is you can wet them a little bit, and then I take me a rubber mallet, a couple taps with the rubber mallet, and you can see that thing is seated firmly in place. No problem. I've got my 2 clamps on here, so I always put 2 just to make sure I get a good seal. Got the clamp pliers. They look like some kind of nippers, but they're not sharpened, and they're designed to grab these clamps like that. Squeeze it down. Take the other one, do it on the opposite side just so it's got real good compression all the way around. And there you have it. So I'm in an area where we don't get hard freezes, so where you are, if you get a lot colder, you may have to do something slightly different, but I can get away with just using regular little hose bibs, and that's what I'm gonna put on the end of this before I connect my my hose to my tank. I'll put a little thread tape on there just to make sure it seals good. We don't have any leaks or drips. Close that off. Now all I did for this is I kinked it. I know I shouldn't do that, but with this stuff I found I can get away with it instead of turning all my hoses on and off and having to drain all the system. I kink it. As long as you only do it like once, you don't really have any trouble. And there you have a hose bib rigged up. Now this stuff, I direct bury all this line. I use the 1 inch for my main trunks, and then I use this 3/4 inch for all the laterals. And in our area, I bury them up until about the last foot. And then if we get a hard freeze, all I do that last foot of hose, I end up just throwing a little bit of hay, old spoiled hay on it, and I have no trouble with it at all freezing. Now when it comes to tanks, I find the rubber or plastic tanks I much prefer. The metal ones, at least around here in Louisiana, they tend to rust out very fast, so I don't really use them. So I like the plastic tanks. This one's pretty small, but this is kind of my mobile tank where I can move it to different areas when I really need it. And then when it comes to valves, I know you guys have seen these little float valves. Sorry about that. I know you've seen these little float valves that clamp to the top of the tank, and you got the little float there that cuts it on and off. I hate these for a couple of reasons. One, you could see there's no way to easily protect it from the cold because your hose is up top. Your hose wants to kink. There's all kind of problems with these, and then your cows will nudge them with their nose, either on purpose or on accident. They knock them off. You get water leaking everywhere. Drives me insane. My preferred valve is these Jobe valves, and I like, this is the one that's called the it's not the Mega Flow, it's the Jobe Rojo valve is the one I much prefer. You can see it's got this little float. When the tank is full, it comes up and it kicks the closes the valve, and then this is basically cow proof for as long as they're not walking in your, I guess if they stepped in it, they could step on the piece inside there and crack it. But as long as you're keeping your cows out of your tanks, these valves, they don't ever leak, they don't clog up, they have good flow, and the cows, they can try, they can nudge the float all they want, but they can't really mess or knock these valves off in any kind of way. So these have definitely been the best. You know, like I said, now my hose connects at the bottom, so I can bury 99% of it if I want. And then when I do get a freeze, I can just take a little bit of old hay and throw it over the valve and the little piece of hose that's exposed, and I don't have any trouble with the light freezes that we have around here. And then for ease of use, I'm going to connect this just with a little piece of hose right there. I'm going to push the tank up against the fence so that the cows can't accidentally step on any of these little pieces and pinch the hose or break the nozzle or anything like that. And will be good to go. Okay, so you see I got it kind of pushed against the fence where the exposed hose is against the fence. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bury this little piece pretty much all the way to the bib. So we can turn this on. Turn it on like that. We'll let a little bit of water go in, and we will get all this debris out of this tank, and we're good to go. Get the whole herd through. Of course, calves are the last. And the absolute last straggler is, come on. Oh, it's Dollop. What a sweet little calf. Look how tiny she is compared to all the other ones. It's so funny. But she seems very healthy, very thrifty. She seems to be doing fine. She's just tiny. But anyway, appreciate you guys being part of the channel. Like always, if you got any comments, just leave them down below, and we will see you on the next one. Pretty sight.